Like a pumpkin spice latte warms the hearts of white women everywhere, the Arizona Fall League is about to end, but it's time for Ty and I to draft lineups worth talking about. It's time for Dingers.
This is Dingers, way more than fantasy baseball. We keep it real when we talk and knock it straight out the park. Let's see the stats, what's the average draft position? What kind of plays you making? Check the wins above replacement, check the lineups and the points. This I gotta see, what's your path to victory? Are they aiming for a dynasty? Get points going head to head, please don't do me no favors. We're always watching waivers, ain't no minor league, this is major. Yeah, Dingers, let's go.
Welcome to Dingers, the only fantasy baseball podcast for smart people. It's not just Justin Henry Malloy that wins you championships. That's why week in and week out we're delivering tips and strategies to help you live that straight up OG lifestyle. Joining me, as always, from the murder room, Robbie Baseball. Welcome, Robbie. How we doing?
I'm good, thanks, Ty. How are you?
Good, man. I'm back home. I've spent a lot of time on the road recently, and I'm excited to settle in for winter. Maybe work out a little bit would be nice. Like, do some exercise. Apparently that's a thing.
You're in a neighborhood with sidewalk. You could, jog along it with one child, then set that child down, pick up the other one, whether it's the lighter or heavier child, and then that's 2 laps for you.
Well, I've been like moving so bad, so like I've got like our oldest is at the age where like I can do the lay on the ground and he wants to just wrestle, and I just hold him above. So my upper body strength is kind of okay, but the cardiovascular not great. We need to work on that.
I play hockey Sunday nights, and I work all day, then I go to hockey, and then by 10 p.m. I'm sucking back beers in the change room, just wishing that I could somehow catch my breath. And it's it's not COVID related, it's health and conditioning related. But anyway, I'm surprised, Ty, that you did not start off the name with Christian Javier, not to date what time we're recording this podcast, but now that he's part of history, a no hitter, and it's just not the one that everyone likes, where it's one pitcher, part of a no hitter in the World Series, and a guy that you have been trying to tell fantasy people to roster.
Yeah, I mean, I've what are we on, year 4 of the Javier watch? Year 2?
No, year 2. Yeah, this is the year you were saying it's going to be a slow build, but talk about being on the nose, a slow build. Yeah. Now it's the World Series, and he's making a massive impact.
Yeah, it's his second like partial no-hitter of the season. Like that's no one's really mentioned that either. Like he was involved in the one at Yankee Stadium too. So, we're talking about a guy.
Remember that, yeah.
Yeah, like we're talking about a guy that's had a very good season, with the exception of a little blip that I mentioned, the pain last week or the week before, for me personally in the home league. But at the same time, like that was an obvious one. And really, what a great back-to-back set of games. Like the Phillies couldn't miss the night before. They hit home runs all over the place. And I mean, listen, McCullers, everybody's like, oh, he's tipping pitches. He also just threw a bunch of curvebalves right down the dick. And sorry, that's going to get hit hard.
That's saying that never gets old. That just always brings a smile to my face when you say down the dick. But McCullers also was a World Series hero previously doing that. So, of course, the book is out. You can't do that in Major League Baseball. You cannot be predictable, especially on the mound. And when you're Lance McCullers, you have a history of success by becoming Captain Curveball. So, yeah, Correct. Of course.
Yeah, and when you miss that pitch, they're obviously going to be looking for that. So he missed it a bunch of times, and it didn't go well. So good for the Phillies. They were on it. But, Javier and now JV giving them the business again tonight as well. So, it's been a good series so far. But we're talking some fun stuff tonight, Robbie. But I know before we do, we have to get down to business.
A long time ago, someone decided to put stuff in glass bottles. In some of these bottles, they put juice or milk, and that was stupid. Today, only alcohol and a few other products remain in the containers from the gods. It's time for beers and bourbon, because good advice only comes in a bottle.
You've gotten way too good at that. I already cracked mine, but like There you go.
Well,
Boom. It sounds
you know what?
rinky dink like me.
I'm into the screw top for whatever reason. Again, like every single bottle of bourbon that you're allowed to bring into the country of Canada has screw tops for some weird reason, except for Elijah Craig and Woodford and Basil Hayden. So yeah, this is a new one tonight, actually, Robbie. It's called Cooper's Craft. Now, I didn't know what to expect. It's literally one I've never tried before, and I don't even remember where I got it from. But it smells kind of good. Yeah, not Cooperstown. Although, depending on how this first sip goes, it could be on its way. We'll see here how this.
Just like your AFL team might be this roster.
That's right.
We are about to pick.
What do you got? Are you back into the floats or are we...
No. I am Coors. Coors, but it is still the original. I know we talked about this last time, how it looks like a banquet, but it says original. And I thought after we talked, I'm like, well, maybe it's for some reason, like you talk about bringing in your bourbon, maybe this is an American can. I'm like, no, it's in milliliters. It says 5% alcohol. God rest the Queen. So, it's a legit Canadian one, but I haven't looked into it because I just don't care. But free beer is free beer, and I'm still drinking it. So yeah, and the final thing before we dive into the episode, Ty, is just to let everybody know where you can find us, and that's on the Twitterverse. We don't overly engage, and to be perfectly honest, it's such a negative space, it can just be tough, but we're happy to DM and have exchange through that. You can find the podcast, which either Ty or I can answer questions at Dingers Pod. You can find Ty at Tourney Boss or myself at Robbie Baseball 1, and that is numerical 1. As that's where I always would like to be in the standings. But anywho, Ty, the game plan for tonight is a good one. We have not looked at fall league stats because we've been watching MLB, but we know that as Dynasty guys, the fall league, the AFL, as it will be called most places, is very important. It is the launching pad for the Nelson Velasquez's of the world, the Juan Yepez's of the world, who can all of a sudden just emerge. And there are also guys, and 16 of them that I've got on the list here, Ty, who MLB has already said these are going to be guys. And this is MLB.com's list of the current active top 100 players. But we are going to draft our own lineup of guys that we think are interesting. Now, whether that's we'd like good things for them, or they missed a bunch of time this year, various reasons. I don't know, Ty, if maybe you want to rhyme off all those names because you know how good I am at pronouncing them. All of them do look kind of familiar, but if you want to just say,
pretty good list here. 16 guys, right? These are the guys that are you should know most of these guys, right? This is a good list. Top of the list, we got a pair of Jordans: Jordan Walker, Jordan Lawler, Novelli Marte, Henry Davis, and outfielder, shortstop, catcher, right? So key positions here. Robert Hassel III is an interesting one, coming in at the 23rd slot ahead of Zach Veen, questionable. Jason Dominguez of the Yankees, Quinn Priester of the Pirates, starting pitcher. Brendan Davis, who's one of my favorite to flop guys. Personally, I've told you that one, Robbie, and we've talked about it a little bit on here
for a couple years now.
Yep. Mason Wynn, shortstop for the Cardinals. Andy Pages, one of my guys. Dodgers, who not enough people know about yet. Matt McLean, shortstop of the Reds. Jackson Merrill, shortstop for the Padres. One of the great names in baseball, Tink Hence.
Oh, yeah.
Right-handed pitcher for the Cardinals. Nick Gonzalez of the Pirates. And rounding off the list, Zach Goloff of the Athletics. G-Loff. I like G-Loff. I think
that's the hardest one. The last name was the hardest one. And that was the one I looked at.
Hope
when
it's
I'm like,
G-Loff,
you should say them.
You know what I was thinking about while you were talking about all the Zeds? That we need a t-shirt that just has Kanye. And I know that's very touchy right now, but Kanye and Pez Machine for Yepez.
Kanye, Pez Machine.
Because his new name is Yi.
Oh, okay.
So
thank you for explaining that.
Yepez.
Yep.
I think that could be fun.
Now that I've caught up, I like it. But it took me a second. And that's not beer related. That's just, the gears are slow.
That was super complex. Pop culture plus toys.
Like Man, here I am trying to pronounce this Zach name at the end here.
Zach.
But yeah. But so like my brother-in-law, his name's Jeff, and he's Geoff, right? And then there's the classic Jeff. So I would think this is like Jaloff. And
Yeah.
I also you said Andy Pages, and it's definitely not pronounced Pages. It's like Paez or something to that
He
degree.
will always be Pages.
Okay. Okay. All right.
There's never, like, for those of you that listen long term, once I'm hooked on a name, it's there.
Okay.
And he is Pages. The only way I will allow it to be different if it's Paguez, because I just like how that could be said.
Geez. Well, let's just see what happens.
It's not gonna
by
be,
the
but I'm just saying.
Yeah, so this is anyway, this is gonna be episode 1 for us of the 2-parter. So the first one, we're gonna pick the lineup, and I see Ty has given names to our lineups, which I don't know why you did this, but you said 2 early toddlers for yourself, and then for me, it's my Rob's dumpster dudes. I mean, okay, you're right on the dumpster dudes. You're right on the dumpster dudes. I'll give you that.
I'm just always, I had to find something that wasn't ties too early. Like I had to throw a T word, and toddler's the best I could come up with. So
Well, if you go to our YouTube page and you watch this episode or any episode and you see the background, is it the background? What do you call what you've done? Your beautiful work.
overlay.
What is this? Overlay. Thank you. You will see that I currently have in mind Otani here, who I was too early on, Judge here, who I was actually bang on, and then Tyler Glasnow, who I guess we're going to need to wait until next year. But anyway, so that's, I would also think I might be too early, but I would be really happy if it was you, and a bunch of the guys you picked suck. But maybe it would be fun. We pick the roster, we put it out on the Twitterverse. As I just said, it can be a mean place, and people pick the roster that they would want to have as their dynasty one. That sounds like kind of a fun thing.
I like
so
it. Let's do it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
All
let you go first, Robbie, because I
Are
think
you
I was
really?
first in the last one?
Oh, what a gentleman. I was just gonna say, how do you want to sort this out? Okay. I don't want to be too what's the right word? Controversial with this one, but I'm gonna take Jordan Lawler because he's one of the guys that I am absolutely backtracking on from the draft date, when word on the street from one of our insiders was this guy's not gonna be able to hit the ground running, and all he's done is smash balls. So Jordan Lawler, who is a D-backs prospect, he's playing with Salt River this year. He's a shortstop. He's going to be my numero uno. So I don't know how we're going to go about. We don't have a utility spot. Maybe we could pretend that a second baseman's a shortstop if we need it or something like that. But that's my guy.
Fill out the starting 8. That's the rule. I'm making that decision. No DH, no utility. You have to put him out of position. So.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, like, Jordan Lawler as a shortstop right now, but let's just pretend that I know you're not going to take Noelli Marte, and I take him at some point in time. Is it okay if I say he's my third baseman? That's like logical, right?
Yes.
It'd be silly if I said he's my catcher.
What he is. He is a third baseman.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Just checking.
Yes. They call him a shortstop, but he's a third baseman. I'm going to stick with the Jordan theme, and I'm happy that you didn't take him because Jordan Walker is my favorite prospect in all of baseball right now. I just think this kid has all the tools in the world, and not enough people are paying enough attention to him. There's going to be an outfield conversation in St. Louis next season, and they're going to have to figure out where to put a couple of these guys. Now, there's some bats freed up. Maybe one of them can catch. But at the end of the day, Jordan Walker is going to be a St. Louis Cardinal at some point next season, whether he hits opening day or wait for the deadline or later in the year. He's going to be a Cardinal. All he's done is rake in the minors. So that's mine.
What position are you going to put him at here? Sorry to interrupt.
I put him at third because for now, I think that's what he is. Obviously with Arenado there, like the chance of that staying a reality is no. So
you don't think that St. Louis will trade him, pay $50 million of his contract, and get back a pitcher? Yeah, because that's already happened to him once. So.
Yeah, no. But I will say this though, I do think there is an outside shot, depending on what the pitcher market is, that Jordan Walker could get traded. Now, it would have to be a pretty good pitcher. But
the
St. Louis is in win now mode, so it would make sense for them to make a pitcher move and trade a potential Jordan Walker if the piece coming back is good enough. So there's only a handful of guys, like Otani would be one of them. right? You might see,
Wow.
well, you might see some interesting moves. Like you could see
Jeez, I
somebody like,
honestly hadn't thought of that. That would be fascinating if that was the move.
and the other
Oh
one
man.
you could take a thought about too, and this would, no one would see this one coming. A Hunter Brown in Houston and send
Mhm.
Jordan Walker back. Like that would be a good almost one for one trade, right? You'd probably see a low level guy come from Houston just because it's the pitcher versus the position player, but like
Yeah.
there's another one that could make a ton of sense. So there's options. And I think it's an interesting one. But on the flip side, my second guy, I'm gonna go ahead and start the outfield, and I'm gonna take Zach Veen off the board because these are my two favorite guys right now. So I'm just going to get that done and build that safety net.
Okay. Okay. I didn't think that we were gonna do that snake draft. I thought I would get to pick. So
Um, do you think
it
you get to
doesn't
go
matter.
first twice in a row? No way.
I thought that'd be nice. I thought that'd be
But
nice.
you get two now. You can take your catcher and save
Well, yeah,
save
I was
yourself.
gonna say I wasn't actually gonna pick Veen with my second round pick, just
Mhm.
because I mentioned this is the only player I mentioned to you before we started recording, and I wanted to take him just to like do that thing where you plant your flag on the player, and I'm
Yeah.
taking Mason Auer. I think that's the correct way to say it. Auer of Tampa Bay. Pardon me. I do know that he started out the fall league hot. That's how I found out about him. But Hot was like 30 at bats in. So
Mhm.
he's loaded up in the talent section. He was the 5th round pick in 2021, a plus runner with a cannon of an arm from the outfield, and hit 290 this year, 372 OBP, 487 slug over 150 games at 2 A ball levels. So A ball and high A, and that's good for me. I'm happy to take that guy, college bat, and yeah, that one makes me happy. And excuse me, I will look at pitching. I'm just not doing it yet. And one of the things that I have heard, Ty, about this class of fall league pitchers is that it is not of the caliber of previous years.
Yep.
And I don't think you would necessarily take him, but because I really love the 50 home run potential here, I'm going with Noelle Marte of the Reds. He'll become my third baseman, as we discussed
Whew.
before. So that'll be my
50 home
third
run.
round
Like
pick.
I don't mind throwing the 40 number, but
No, I'm
throwing the
going big.
50
I'm going
is
big.
aggressive.
There's a reason DePoto traded him, and it wasn't because he didn't believe in him. It's because he believed so much more in the return package that he got. He knew that he was giving up a stud in Marte, and we're seeing some issues with power average, what's going to happen with him. But everyone seems to be forgetting that this isn't a 23-year-old guy having these issues. This is what is he, 19 right now? Give the kid room to grow. Not everybody is just going to hit the ground running. And I mean, let's talk to the Jared Kelenic fans out there, right? Patience is a virtue. So
Yeah,
Marte
no,
is my round 3.
okay. All right. I don't mind that. I think there's some good upside there. I like the core. I'm gonna do a very similar move to what you just did, and this one's gonna be a little bit of a reach, but I don't trust you. So I want this guy, and I'm gonna go get it now. I am gonna move him across the infield. He's tagged right now as a third baseman, second baseman. I actually think he's gonna end up at first, and that's Colt Keith of the Detroit Tigers. And this is a bit of an early pick,
Oh,
Robbie. But
cool.
if you go back and I believe it was 2 years ago when he went in the
He
draft.
was a 2020 player. Yeah.
Yeah, and I said this was a guy I own him in a lot of the leagues that we're in, and this is a guy that I was all over, and a lot of people are like he's got to figure some things out. Well, guess what he has? I mean, last season across multiple levels, he just raked. Fall league, he hit 364 and hit a home run that still hasn't landed there. But his OPS this season at high A was 914 with 9 bombs. So when you get that to double and triple, we're talking 30, 35 upside here for a high school bat showing contact skills. So I'm there. I like what's here. Left-handed bat profile as well. So might be a little early, but I'm just flagging it because I really like the upside.
Hey, that's very fair. Colt, sorry, you said you were taking him from third and moving him to first. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay, just want to make sure. So
yeah. So I moved him across, and partially because I didn't recognize that I was going to take him when I took Jordan Walker, so I might have put Jordan Walker in the outfield. Had I recognized that I was going to take another guy that could have played third.
Well, that's
So,
okay.
that's me.
We are flexible because you just need to put the pieces in
That's right.
play here.
Yep. I'm going to start the stable, and I'm going to go grab an arm here. Again, one that I think a lot of people will find to be a little bit early for this stage in our fake draft here. But I'm going to take Sandy Gaston off the board here. I think there's a late blooming, high level arm here, and I just like what I've seen in the footage. He feels like a guy that is going to break out. And I'm going to get in on that now.
Okay. And sorry, what is Gaston's team here? I am not
Tampa.
seeing that. Thank you very much. That's why I
And
didn't see it, because
I
took Hour and walked away.
The one thing that I'll flag too, though, is like on other rosters, he would be getting a lot more attention than he's getting. And he had a rough Arizona Fall League, had some walk issues. That's the thing, but the stuff is there. So I'm just playing. This is a guy that's in A-ball right now. This was an international signing, big money, and I'm willing to bet the mechanic changes start to wear off this season. So that's where I'm coming from with that one.
Okay. I am just checking myself out here. Uh-oh. I think I may have run into my first issue. I may have. Well, we're going to. No, yeah, not from checking myself out, but maybe. Okay, so I was getting ready. I think I still can. I apologize for the delay here, people. It's just a matter of, yeah, okay. So this is what I'm going to do, Ty. You tell me if I'm not allowed. I want to take Nick York from the Red Sox as my 4th round pick here. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Loving Nick York. Everybody in Dynasty, you know who he is, because he was one of the guys who, when drafted, it was questioned. He then arrived, a 325 season this year, 412 OBP. Beautiful. That was 2021. And then he had the recoil this year. My apologies. 231 this year, 303 OBP in high A. But he also had a couple injuries. This is also a high school guy. This is also a dude in a Boston development system that has produced early, young, impact MLBers. We can argue about Benintendi or not, but we do know the stage that the Devers and Bogarts and Mookie Betts of the world have gotten to. So Nick York, that's going to be my guy. I will put him at second base. I believe you may not allow this, and that would be okay. The next guy I want is Miami's. He's like he's an infielder. I'm going to pretend that he could be my first baseman. Jose Salas. Will you allow me?
What position does he play now?
He would be a shortstop. I know. That's why I'm asking. I'm trying to be kind and ask.
I'm okay with that.
Him.
I'm okay with that.
All right. Now let me scroll back down to the notes since you're going to let me take them. Because I did have somebody else in mind. I had an arm set up if it wasn't going to work. Ty, he is stated as an infielder, but here's the deal. The second youngest player on any AFL roster right now, he's advanced at 19 years old, 5-tool upside. So I would like to see what that does in a full AFL. And that's why I don't have a
problem with it, because the trend in baseball is like, you look at guys like Ariz, no, not Ariz. Yeah, Ariz played first base this year, right? Kevin Biggio's playing first base. Like there's guys that are playing first base that are infielders. Yeah, well, I don't necessarily have an issue with it.
If Vladdy's a Gold Glove first baseman, anybody can play first base. Don't come at me, bro.
Yeah, no, anyway. I don't hate it. You get it. You get one more though, don't you? Or no, you took Salas too, right?
Yeah, I took York and Salas. So right now my infield's
I got to write this down.
Jose. Sorry, I'm doing it. So Ty's writing it on a computer like anyone over the age of 5.
2022, bro.
Yeah, and I'm writing it on pen and paper because you know what? I just like that sound, guys. That's the sound of papier.
Yeah, I'm surprised you're not using a mechanical pencil.
Well, if anybody heard that click from my pen, it makes that noise. But here, I got another noise before I give it to Ty for 2 rounds. There we go. Ooh. All right, continue.
See, I'm torn here because I have like 3 or 4 guys that I want to get, and I don't know which one to take right now. mean, I can take 2 of them, so there is that. Um, who do I want here? I'm gonna solidify my outfield, and I'm gonna take the aforementioned Andy Pages.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm gonna get that one done. And then I'm going to go back to the pitching side.
Uh-oh.
Where did he go? And I'm gonna be completely controversial on my pitching, just because I'm playing upside here. And I'm gonna take Kumar. Off the
Yeah, you
Rangers.
are. Okay. I don't know if
Yeah.
he's going to pitch much or if he has pitched much.
I'm
Okay.
not against it. Like I just think the arm's there. I think the upside's there. I think we're gonna see it, and I think they went easy on him because they wanted to make sure they didn't blow it up because they sucked last season, right? He pitched like a little in the indie ball. He had 20 innings, 1.35 ERA. Fall leagues only 7 innings, 4.7 ERA. So not enough to really make a decision either way, to be frank. But in those 20 innings in indie ball, he dusted 32 strikeouts. In the fall league, he had 8 in 7.2 innings. So, if you look at the fact that he was probably sharpening some things here against some good hitters, still getting the strikeouts, like I just like the upside. And again, we're talking mainly fantasy baseball here versus winning World Series. I like the strikeout upside, and I think he's going to get a real shot to run some innings up over the next couple of years.
All good, fair points. I completely agree on the idea of treating him like a professional who just needs to build up innings, not treating him like a project who needs to prove 5 or 6 things to you. And it is unfortunate they wasn't able to reach an agreement in the previous year with the Mets, because we know of the injury, of course, but it just would have been better if he was doing that within a system and then as soon as he was ready and healthy. But anyway, all right. So my 6th round pick is going to be Johan Rojas of the Phillies. And I know he's a speedster, and I am positive that he is stealing bags right now in the fall league. And I do have a little note on him. I just have to go back up to him. A dynamic center fielder whose speed has had 60 steals in 2022. Tons of contact, can be very aggressive at the plate. So this is going to be one of those, like, maybe he gets on base and steals one, and the stat line looks good from a fantasy standpoint, which is what we're going for here. But overall, his ceiling might be limited by his ability to be patient. But he is an outfielder, which helps me out with the outfield. And he's also the Phillies' number 5 prospect, courtesy of our friends at MLB.com. And then, Ty, I'm picking my ace. I was pretty sure you wouldn't take him. And that's Quinn Priester of Pittsburgh. I can't remember right now if Priester was a Diamondback that came over in a trade or if he was drafted by Pittsburgh originally. But either way, it doesn't matter. He was drafted. Okay. I know he was a 1st-round pick, and I know he had injuries this year. That's why he's there. But I also think he's going to hopefully start and pile some innings as we go. So I'm looking for him to kind of be my horse.
18th pick in 2019.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. So there we go. Those are 2 of mine. My round 6 pick, Johan Rojas with the Phillies, and my 7th-round pick, Quinn Priester, first pitcher for me off the board, Pittsburgh.
And who is this Rojas character? You always draft guys I've never heard of.
He's an outfielder with Philly. So their AFL team is surprise, because that's what he's going to do.
Johan who?
Rojas, R-O-H-A-S.
Johnny Rojas. Football is life. Anyway, if you haven't seen Ted Lasso, then you don't get the joke.
Yeah, definitely haven't. I don't have the Apple. I do have most of the other streaming apps. Anyone out there, by the way, off topic but very brief, if you have Disney Plus, go watch the TV show The Bear. It's with Carl. Was it Carl? No, not Carl. Liam, who was from Shameless. And it's a show. He's a chef who comes back to Chicago to take over a restaurant from his brother who killed himself, and that's not giving anything away. But then there's the story of how it goes, and it's fascinating. It also reminds me of bits and pieces of both my own life as a chef and the life that was lived by others. addiction and other things. It's very interesting. I really like the first season. So anybody who hasn't, boom, dig in. And that is my mid podcast show recommendation.
I like it. Yeah. Thanks for that.
Yeah. Back to Ty.
Yeah. So
Excuse me.
I'm really struggling with where to go at the catcher position, Robbie. So that's
What? You're gonna pick a catcher? This is great.
I didn't say I was going to. I said I'm struggling to
Oh.
find someone.
Oh, are you sure? Okay. Well, I've got one, but I just don't want you to take them.
I've got two.
one. Oh, well, then you've got one more than me.
I've got two, but I don't really want either of them. So I'm just
That's
gonna
'cause they're
round out.
catchers.
I'm just gonna round out my pitching because I know this guy. I'm gonna get Will Bednar, who you and I both are high on. I think he's a couple years away still. Like I think if we see him next season or early the following year, I think that's going to be a bad thing for Bednar. Even though we've got a college arm with reasonable upside, I feel like it needs to be 2 years from now for him. Even though like he was high A last year, so it's safe to say we'll see him at double this year, and he could progress. But again, Pacific League. PCL were 4.6 across 43 innings and 51 strikeouts, right? So strikeout numbers are right in line with where we want to see for a starter. Problem is this is a college arm at A ball. So we want to see a step up there. I just think there's good like San Francisco vibes with Bednar, right? If he was in a different organization, I really don't think I would be as high on him as I am, but I like what that ballpark can do for his stuff. So for me, that's the big takeaway there. I'm going to I'm going to go back to the infield and finish off the shortstop thing. And I think I'm going to play the safe one here. Like I want to go a different route, but I'm going to play the safe one with Matt McLain. Even though I'm not really a Matt McLain guy. But I honestly thought you were going to leave me Jordan Lawler. And so I was kind of playing for that angle when I gave you the first pick. Full transparency.
Well, I'm glad I was able to upset you. So, and it's also me admitting a mistake, right? It's me admitting that I was listening to some other people. And I mean, I looked at the scouting reports. The scouting reports all said it should be perfectly fine. And then, you have a few people in your ear and sometimes you pass on the guy. I mean, he hasn't hit yet at MLB. He just certainly now looks like he's going to. So,
yeah. And with McLain, like this might be the safest middle infielder in the minors right now. Like just a guy that kind of grinds it out, is slappy, a little bit of power upside that's going to get a bit of a jump being in Cincinnati. And that team is going to have some pop when these guys all get to the pros. But I will say, if this was real life, I for sure would have taken Mason Wynn. Defense there, upsides there, a little bit of hit tool. Real life would have been Mason Wynn all day. I just don't know that there's enough fantasy upside for me.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. All right. I am going to go from what round are we now? I'm going to be round 8. Yes. You were 7 and McLain was your round 8 guy. So my round 8 guy, I'm going to nix the guy I was going to take because I'm fun like that. And I'm moving up around to take a lefty, Carson Whisenhunt, since you took Will Bednar from the Giants. I'm taking Whisenhunt, and Whisenhunt was a second round pick this year, college pitcher, 91 to 95 fastball, which is not great, not overly promising, but 60, 65 grade, depending on where you're going, change up. Yep. That's the pitch. And I'm believing in that for him to be a starter. And I want to see him pitch some innings. And that's what I'm hoping for here, because I want performance in the fall league to boost him. And there is another pitcher that was in the Bednar class. The name, I think it was Nick Swiney. Maybe I'm wrong on that, who had a really, really good 2022 and boosted up and is now considered above Bednar. But Bednar being here with the Giants tells me that San Francisco's either looking for him to do something specific while he's here, work on a pitch or whatever it is. And that is more interesting to me than a guy who just had one good, pro season. So, and Whisenhunt, we're about to see what he can do. And the fall league is that's pretty sweet for San Fran to send him there. So I'm interested in that. And then my next guy up, I did have somebody else. But I'm going to finish my pitching, and I'm going to go with Cincinnati's Christian Roa. ROA. It's nice and simple. That's a few Reds we've been taking, so that's fun. And where's my notes here on Roa? Roa. I guess I didn't have them.
Roa,
I deleted them.
like boa, but Roa.
Yeah, and I think I'm confusing him with another pitcher who was traded from Colorado to Cincinnati, and I'm trying to remember his draft stock, but I know he was a draft
What
year 2020.
was Roa not in the Winker trade?
Well, no, he was
Or did
no,
he
he
get
was not a
drafted?
Seattle pick. No, there was a far more dominant lefty from Seattle whose name's escaping me at the moment. But Roa was drafted by Cincinnati. I'm going to say round 3 or 4 in 2020.
I looked
And
it up. Out of
well,
the Texas A&M.
he was a second round pick, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to see him pitch as a starter. So that's why he's the 30th prospect for the Reds, which is, I think, a little far back. And maybe after this, he'll move up quite a bit.
Yeah. No, I don't hate that one. That's actually one that I'm kind of disappointed I didn't take. To be fair, are you thinking you're thinking Brandon Williamson is the one that was in the Winker
Thank
trade?
you. Yes, that was the former Mariner who had a great season.
But I do like the Roa pick. That's a sneaky good one that you slid in there. So good on you. Did you had 2 picks there? What was your second one again?
Yeah, so I went with Wizenhunt with San Francisco and Roa with Cincinnati.
Okay, beautiful. All right, so I need to find a catcher now, and I really got to get serious about that because I'm running out of space. I don't know how I want to play this one because I got to find a guy that plays a terrible position to justify taking him.
Well,
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to, in order to keep things moving here, I'm going to do something that's a little questionable, and I'm going to take Tink Hence because I can, and I'm going to throw the asterisk on Sandy Gaston because of the walk upside and because of the slight usage of him in the pen last season.
Oh, okay.
As a potential bullpen arm. The strikeout upside's there, the walk ratios profile as a reliever. They spent too much money. I don't see him being a bullpen arm next season. But I'm gonna hedge my bet there just because I think that's a reality. And it's so hard to predict relievers in this draft.
Okay, so Sandy Gaston, you are now saying, just for the sake of this, is going to be your reliever pick, not a starter pick, and Tink Hence is a starter pick. I think I'm okay with that because we really, truly never know where in the heck these guys are going to go. And when they're at this point, we just know that the teams are looking at them, period.
Yeah, so. Like any of my 4 guys could be a reliever, to be 100% honest. Like very easily. They all have huge upside, but they also have one of those just little bit of be worried. But I'm going to trust my gut, which is usually pretty good on the pitching side on that one. I'm going to go back to the second base position, and I'm going to do something that I didn't think I would ever do, but I'm doing it. I'm going to take Nick Gonzalez. The only reason I'm doing it is because I think it's a safe bet based on where we're at in this draft. If I was drafting in a normal dynasty league, he'd be gone by now. Someone would have grabbed him earlier. I think it would have been too early. I'm okay taking him after all of the guys that have been selected at this point.
Okay. That's cool. That's your 2 picks then, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Wow. Are you done? You're done with pitchers, right?
That's right. You're safe on the pitching side. I need an outfielder and a catcher.
So I've got a guy that I'm going to say I think is bullpenny. But I just wanted to state that Ryan Cusick, who was the former Brave that came over to the A's, I thought would be one of your kind of guys. Okay. That's interesting.
No,
well, that's fine. My next one, my final outfielder here, just so we're aware, I've got Mason Auer, Johan Rojas of the Phillies, and then my last guy here is Oakland's Lawrence Butler. And if you don't know, he's a first base potential as well as an outfielder. He's right in the middle of the pack for prospect rankings for Oakland, which is perfect for me. He also had a really strong 2019, I'm going to say. it was, and then came back in 2021 and was good. Went to the fall league. We talked about him a little bit last offseason. I started scooping him up everywhere, and now this year, and I really hope he can make an impact this year. And then because of that Oakland position openness everywhere, no one's locked in. He can be a guy who could be up early next year and playing a lot. And there's power potential with Butler. There's some strikeout concerns with him and OBP concerns with him, but that's one of the reasons why you send a guy like him to the fall league. So he is my round 10 pick. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay. Round 10. And then my round 11, which leaves me with just one after this. I am taking Brian Woo from Seattle. And I had to. I'm contractually obligated for every roster to have a Mariner. And I'm taking Woo, who is a 6th-round pick from 2021. He had Tommy John.
Is this an outfielder?
No. This is a pitcher who I think is going to be a relief pitcher.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I hope he is, because then every time he strikes somebody out,
woo!
it's
the Blur song.
Like we're Ric Flair.
Oh, okay. Well, I like the Blur song though.
I feel like Ric Flair's from Seattle too. I don't know why. I just have this gut feeling that he is.
Well, if he is, then it is.
Nope, he's not. He's from Memphis, Tennessee. Close though.
Very close. It is in America. Anyway, so Woo has had Tommy John. He's come back and pitching at high A. So 3-pitch mix, but I'm just saying here, Brian Woo, Bryan, is somebody I'm interested in. So, okay. Ty, that leaves you with...
Do you not have 2 picks, or did I miss somebody?
No, I picked Brian Woo, and I picked Lawrence Butler with Oakland.
Okay. All right, I like it. So you also have a catcher and an outfielder left? Is that the way I have?
I have Mason Auer for Tampa Bay for an outfielder, Johan Rojas, and Lawrence Butler as my outfielders. My infielders, Nick York, Jose Salas, Novelli Marte, and Jordan Lawler. And then my pitchers are Quinn Priester.
I erased Butler because I hit Control-Z on my keyboard, which is similar to your scratching out on your pen. Okay, I'm going to scratch out. I'm going to finish off the catcher position.
And you have one outfielder as well, right, Ty?
I have an outfielder and a catcher, yes.
Yeah, okay. Final 2 picks for Ty. Let's hear them.
Yeah, I'm going to go to the catcher side. I'm going to take Dylan Dingler from the Detroit Tigers.
I like it.
I like it. I probably should pick Henry Davis here, but his name's Dylan Dingler, so I'm in. And that's enough. It's a catcher. Who cares?
I was just gonna say, and really, no. What good is there in taking a highly ranked catcher? None.
Makes no difference. The one thing I will flag is he had 143 strikeouts last year in the minors. That is concerning. But because it's a catcher and his name's Dingler, I'm good.
He's on,
right?
He's on,
because it's like that fastball is right down the Dingler, right? So there's just so much upside to this.
No. If he and Lance McCullers ever end up teaming up, your head's gonna explode.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
Curveballs down the Dingler.
And then the outfield, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna take Kierstad with the Orioles. Nice. I think this is a good center fielder potential. I think he's going to be a really nice fit into what they've done in Baltimore. I have a lot of faith in Mike Elias and the team. He did a phenomenal job, and we're seeing that in the World Series right now with Houston. All the guys that him and his team scouted and drafted. He's doing the same thing already in Baltimore. We saw it this year, how good even the recent picks have been, like how fast these guys have progressed. I just believe in a big way in what Baltimore's done on the offensive side. Pitching, less so on the draft. They've done a nice job of revamping a couple guys into good relievers. But at the end of the day, I like what Baltimore's doing, and Kierstad is going to be a guy that's going to give me some counting stats. I'm here for that.
I like the Kierstad pick. I know there's a lot of risk in it. And one thing I have been doing, Ty, on the side with some of my free time in the mornings is writing about guys who are not hyped prospects, largely. And and doing that on robbybaseball.com. And if you're interested at all, I did cover, I think I've done 5 of the teams now. I've written about 9 different MLB teams, and in 4 to 6 prospects depending on the team. They're not really like fall guys. They're not top 100 guys for sure. It's just guys to consider. And there's always, it's like the warts. I don't like to just take a straight up prospect who looks like they're doing good things. I like a guy who has the roundabout way to get there at the end. And anyway, I've been writing quite a bit, and Baltimore is stacked. Like it's
yeah.
For an AL East team to do well, as we know. I've decided now, Ty, also I've made it official. I'm no longer a Blue Jay fan because I don't like what they're doing. So why do I have to be a fan of the team and the organization when I don't like what they're doing? I didn't like what they did in spring training. I didn't like the acquisitions that they made in season, or lack of. And I predicted that this stupid short postseason was going to end the way that it did because I didn't like how the Jays were set up. So I'm out. I am going out west, and I'm a Mariner fan. And that's what it is. I like what they're doing.
You're too old to stay up and watch those games, though.
Well, I can get the updates in the morning. But anyway, you're right about that. But the reason is as stated. And I think if anyone out there is like, I've been a fan of whatever team, and if you're the type of fan who just hates everything your team is doing, but you love your team, good for you. I don't like even driving into Toronto to go watch a Jays game because it's such a pain in the arse to get in and get around and get out. But I like what the Mariners have been doing top to bottom with the organization. And that's why I decided to make that official switch. That has nothing to do with the last pick. My last pick's Joe Mack, catcher with the Marlins.
Like
that's my catcher. Supplemental first round pick last year, high school guy, or sorry, like 2021, not 2022. Matt can be a power guy. He's athletic. Whether he moves away from catcher or not, I don't know. But I also believe he had a pretty good line this past year, and that's something that we can for sure cover on the next episode. But Ty, do you want to go through your lineup with everybody before we wrap it? Then the next episode we'll break down fall league. The results.
Really quick, just before we do, I just want to touch really quickly on something for Kierstad, because we kind of jumped through that one a little bit. And just really quickly to end on your Mac one. Again, 19-year-old, 12 home runs at A-ball last year, a couple in the fall league. He had
he's hit some this year. Good.
Sorry,
don't tell me too much.
I read the wrong column. He had 5 home runs this year. My bad.
Okay.
Definitely got a little ramped there, but there is power upside in that bat. Like, you will see that. It's just a matter of when. He's 19, but that power will absolutely 100% be there. But going back to Kierstad, like he played a little bit back versus his age. This is a college bat. I think a relatively safe bat. If you eliminate the 186 at bats at A+ high A, he hit 233 with an OPS of 674. He spent obviously a good chunk of the year, but between A-ball and the fall league, like, he raked the fall, the end of the season, 5 home runs, 347, 1009 OPS against obviously upside offense. But the same, very similar line at A-ball. Sorry, Robbie.
I just want to add to your story. So Kierstad's coming back from basically not playing baseball for 18 months. So he had myocarditis. Pronunciation's not my big thing.
Myocarditis.
So he was the top pick in 2020. Missed time.
So this is like the COVID side effect, right?
Yes, he got COVID and it crushed him. Kept him from out of baseball last year. That's why everyone's like, what's the deal with Kierstad? So then he came up, obviously had his struggles, as you just discussed, and now this is the guy that the O's drafted, blah blah blah. So we just have to understand that bump. And anyone out there in dynasty leagues, if you're new to the podcast, if you're expanding your dynasty rosters and things like that, players like Kierstad are really hot for very short periods of time with a lot of dynasty owners, and then when they don't have stat lines, they get bored with them and they're on to the next one, or they're on with the guy who has had a good season, and you can make those deals. I think Kierstad's a buy all day guy myself. Yeah, I forgot we
Yeah.
had those.
Yeah, he's definitely on the hello, my name is Heston. But let's get back to the review here. So my
Yep.
guys on Ty's Too Early team, Dylan Dingler at the catcher position, Colt Keith at first, Nick Gonzalez playing second, Jordan Walker at third, Matt McLean at shortstop, Zach Veen in the outfield, Andy Pages, Heston Kierstad are going to join him. And then the arms are Tink Hentz, Kumar Rocker, Will Bednar, and Sandy Gaston. Robbie, what do you got?
So Gaston, just to me, sounds like a Disney character, and it's in Tampa. So
he is a Disney character.
Is Sandy? But
No,
Gaston's. What's the
Gaston.
movie? What's the?
Beauty and
Is
the
that
Beast?
okay? Anyway, so I've got
One of the
Joe
great
Mack.
characters of all time.
Sure, he's not a Mighty Duck, so who cares? Am I right, everybody?
He could have been the third Batch brother, though.
Maybe he will be in the reboot that they're doing.
Yeah, right. No, he's not woke enough.
Okay. Joe Mack is my catcher. Nick York is my, air quotes first baseman. Jose Salas is my second baseman. Noelle Marte is my third baseman, and Jordan Lawler is my shortstop. I know, guys. I know. Oh my God, it's gonna be great. Mason Hour is in my outfield. Johan Rojas with the Phillies was my 6th round pick, and then Lawrence Butler with Oakland I got in the 10th round. My starting pitchers are Quinn Priester, Christian Roja. I'm just making Roja now. Christian Roa. I gotta say it properly. And then Wizen Hunt, who I forgot the first name, but that's okay. At the moment with San Francisco, I got in the 8th round. And then my relief pitcher pick, which is really, we're just giving ourselves a 4th starter, is Brian Woo with Seattle. So Ty, are we going to do classic 5x5? Is that how we should rank this? We'll do whoever had like the collective runs, RBIs, dingers, average, and stolen bases. And then for pitching side, wins are going to be hard anyway. So, but whatever. Let's just say we'll do wins. If by chance we got saves. I mean, last year, what was it? Graham Spraker was the MVP for pitchers, and he didn't get a sniff of MLB time, and he's like 33. He's not 33, but he was with Toronto, and he didn't get any MLB time this year, and he was the AFL pitcher of the year. But anyway, we'll do the classic 5x5 scoring. I guess it's going to be more heavy to the hitting than the pitching side, but what the fall league should officially be done by the time the next episode is recorded, and we can say who won and lost, and then we can just maybe discuss anybody we think is exciting that was not drafted.
Agreed. And just so you can catch up on what we're talking about here, Robbie, I'm going to share an audio clip with you and a little bit of video.
Of Lasso
of Dent.
Okay. I'm not getting the audio, just so we're clear.
Well, that's no fun. Why does it got to be like that?
Well, we do post this to YouTube live, and there's the potential with songs where YouTube just closes you down. So maybe it's not for the worst. Not that they would be like, oh, I recognize that voice.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a lot of different things, but you might be right on that one. So for those of you that didn't see that, we'll move on and get back to this. But I think that's it, Robbie. We've covered a lot here. We've got a lot of good guys, and you've got the old "don't hang up on me" finger in the air.
Well, the only reason why, and I just wanted to very quickly say it, I did not pick Cesar Perito, who is also an Oriole, and I mentioned that I've been writing about guys at RobbieBaseball.com. But he's a J2 guy who signed in 2021 for $650,000. He's 23 years old. He had 1,000 OPS. It was only 25 games at high A this year, and then went to Double A and sucked. So this is kind of a neat fall league for him. I didn't want to pick him because I didn't think he was going to rake, but that's one of those types of guys that I really hope I'm wrong on, and we see a good looking stat line.
So he's also blocked by Gold Glove backup infielder Ramon Urias. So there's that.
Do you mean starting third baseman Ramon Urias with Baltimore?
Okay. Yeah, because he started down the stretch. Yeah.
He was hurt.
Yeah. That's a good spot to leave it, Robbie. One of our shorter episodes in recent memory, so good for us. We didn't talk the entire episode about nothing, so that's great.
I didn't even mention my trucks. didn't even mention the trucks.
You did kind of. So correction time. Side hustle alluded to that, and canoes. So we're good there. It's a great spot to leave. It's been Rob and Tyler here on Dingers.